guys, welcome back to our Dutch farmhouse. If you're new here, my name is Naomi and we live in an old farmhouse in the beautiful countryside of the Netherlands. Now, I have been baking my own bread for a couple of years now, but since about a year or two, we don't really buy any bread from the store at all anymore. It's not as much work as it seems, especially when you get the hang of it. And if you don't count the time that you're waiting for the dough to rise, which I don't really count because I can do other things during that time, I can bake 2 loaves of bread in less time than it would cost me to go to the grocery store. Now, this, of course, is only because I have the luxury of working from home. I completely understand that not everybody can take a chunk of the day to babysit a loaf of bread for 3 hours. But if you do, as a bonus, the entire house will smell like a bakery all day, and who doesn't love that? Now, I do both sourdough and normal yeast breads. Ruben isn't a huge fan of the sourdough taste, so I make the normal ones for him to take to school. However, the sourdough makes for the best grilled cheese, which is what we're having for dinner today as a side to a lovely tomato vegetable soup, because I have officially declared it soup season again. Now, this is a very simple, basic soup. I will leave all of the ingredients and instructions in the description, but it really is just a very basic soup. So I am just cooking up some onions and some garlic and adding some spices, some oregano and basil. I very much prefer using these fresh, but sadly, the start of soup season is kind of the end of fresh herb season here. So I do still have some parsley and some thyme fresh, but no more basil. So we're using dried basil again. Then I add a bunch of tomatoes, either fresh or canned. I am using canned today, and some vegetables. And you can use any kind of vegetables, anything that you've got left over in the fridge. Today I am using shredded carrots, some celery, and fresh parsley. You can add way more. Sometimes I add cauliflower as well, or broccoli. Leek also goes very well with these vegetables. It's very, very versatile. It's a great way to use up some leftover veggies. Then I finish it off with a vegetable broth and let it simmer. I should have used a bigger pot for this. This pot was on the stove from baking bread earlier and I didn't think, I just grabbed it. Now this of course is optional, but I think if I leave out the meatballs, there will be a riot. So I have included the recipe for these in the description as well. I am just making them the way that I make any meatball, but you can of course simplify them a lot. Now today I am making this soup in the early afternoon. I can keep it for several hours in the warming oven. I will keep it at around 60 degrees Celsius. And then around dinner time, I only have to make the grilled cheese, which is lovely because Ruben has athletics training today. So we always kind of have to hurry and eat very quickly after school before we have to leave for sports. So this is a great way to have dinner on the table very, very fast.
How much cheese, chef? Wil je nog wat betekenen? Doe maar wat meer. Ik laat gewoon door.
Dat is goed, dat is genoeg denk ik. Ja. Seem good? Good morning, guys. We have no power, which is also why my hair is still wet, because I couldn't dry it. But I didn't want to wait with the filming because we never really know how long these things take. It actually happens quite a lot. I can see the van at the end of the street, which is a bad sign. Usually that means it either takes a long time or it just keeps shutting down and then it will get back up and then it will go down again. So could be 2 minutes, could be 4 hours. No idea. So I'm just gonna continue. Sorry about the hair. Now I thought I'd give you a little update on the trim situation, which you can't see actually. Last week I asked you guys what I should do about this trim because I didn't like it and I couldn't really figure out what the problem was. Now first of all, I have lived with it for like a week now and it's growing on me. It's not as bad as when I just put it on. So I do think it was partly because I just had to get used to it. However, I think the majority of you guys mentioned that it's not the trim that's the problem, but the color of the door. And that didn't occur to me. So many of you suggested to paint the door the same color as the trim work. The thing is, I don't know if I can paint this door. I really like the door. And that's a problem because I think you guys are absolutely right. It's the wrong color for this wall. But painting the door is a very permanent thing for me. I know that you can remove paint, obviously, but I don't see myself doing that. I really absolutely hate taking paint off of anything, especially when it has little grooves and ridges and things like this door has. I don't think I would ever do that. So painting this door for me would be quite permanent. There's another one in the pantry on the other side. There are 2 double doors that go into the living room that look exactly the same. And I really like how they look. So that's kind of a problem. Another option was changing the trim and stain the trim the same color as the door. That would also be a really good solution. However, that does come with 2 other challenges. First of all, I have so far not been able to get any piece of oak wood stain the same color as the other piece. I have tried to match all of the oak to the oak floor in the living room. It didn't work. Every piece of oak that I acquire is a slightly different type of oak, and it just reacts slightly different to every sort of stain. Now I could mix all kinds of colors of stain, but I don't think I have the patience for that, and I don't think it will really work. This door is also incredibly old. It has been affected by daylight for over 50 years, so the top is literally a different color than the bottom. So, quite the predicament. So what I think I'll do is I will just leave it for now. So I might go out and get a lighter shade of blue for the trim and see how that goes. But other than that, I'm just gonna leave it for now and move on to other things before it drives me completely mad. At least we changed the entire vibe of the kitchen, which is what I was going for. It is no longer brand new and white and a big open space. It is cozy and farmhousey and I love it. So we're gonna leave it for now. But I have never been this indecisive about anything in my life. This kitchen, you guys, it's a challenge. Now I did receive the new wallpaper, so I can finally put it up in that corner there and finish that up. That's also going to change the look of things. Something else that you guys said, which was really, really smart, is to wait with the whole trim thing until I've done the backsplash, because that's also going to really change the look of everything. I guess I just have to move on, okay? Just have to move on. I got the new wallpaper, so let's put it up. Okay, so I'm hitting a little bit of a snag. I am trying to wrap the wallpaper around this little thing here, right? So that it goes into the window. And that is a little tricky. And that's mostly because the wallpaper, like the first sheet of wallpaper stops right here. So this little bit only has this much that is holding on to the wall. So now if I fold it over, it will pull the whole thing off and it will go crooked and it will not, you know, you will see the seam and it's not really working very well. So my current tactic is to just let it dry. So I have it stuck to this side. I'm gonna let that dry. And then when that is all set, then I will like fold it over and paste it to the other side. I'm hoping that that will keep this in place. Right? So I just wanted to make tea, but I forgot that the boiling water faucet thing needs power to work. So we're going old school. Boiling water. Much better. So there's quite a list of things that I still want to get done in the kitchen. I want a big fancy light above the kitchen island. I also would like 2 bar stools at the end of the island, but I haven't been able to find exactly what I like yet because obviously I have a whole list of requirements for bar stools now. We still need a backsplash behind the range, of course. But I am putting all of these things on hold for just a little bit because I think I just need to live with this kitchen for a while before I start making any more expensive decisions that might not be the right ones. So I can do this stuff now that I have the materials for, and one of which is the curtains in front of the windows. That is really a fun project because I have been wanting to replace these for such a long time. The curtains that are there now, I actually got that fabric on sale just because I wanted to add something cozy to the room because it was very, very big and white and new and empty when the new kitchen came in. So I just wanted to add a little bit of texture, which I think it did really, really well. But I have also had another fabric in the back of my mind this entire time that I wanted to replace it with. Now, I didn't get it because I initially thought that it was very expensive. Later, it turned out that I completely misread the article information and it wasn't really that expensive at all. But then a while ago, that fabric went on sale because they only had a couple of yards left. So naturally, I got it. I figured if I don't like it in front of the window here, I can use it in so many other places. So I have that and I could do that if only I had power. It's still not back. We still don't have any power. It's a good thing that the wallpaper project didn't really require any power, but my sewing machine does. So I guess I'll just wait. Good morning, guys. That power outage lasted until dinner time, which is definitely longer than usual. Now, it's been quite gray and rainy lately, which is very typical for the Netherlands, but today is actually very, very sunny. So we jumped on this opportunity to do some work in the garden. We have a pear tree behind our house that I could not reach. It was completely overgrown with weeds and nettles, and last year I completely missed the moment when I could harvest the pears because, believe it or not, last year was even worse. So I asked Stefan to please mow it all down so that we can at least access the tree this year and see what kind of pears they are, because I am not sure. Are they the delicious sweet kind or the kind that you're supposed to cook first? And also, how do you know? Let me know if you know anything about pears. Do I just taste them and see if they are sweet or not? We also made a new friend. This is an American crayfish, which are actually quite problematic little buggers. They are a very invasive species that cause quite some damage around here, but it was kind of cute nonetheless. And we did, of course, have to save it from being mowed over by our lawnmower. Am I driving you mad yet? Replacing these curtains with that fabric has been in my brain for so long. It has been in my head since way before I decided to do wallpaper on that wall. So it was in there. It was like, that's what we're gonna do. But it never actually occurred to me that maybe it doesn't look that good with the wallpaper. And some of you actually already mentioned in the comments that it would look better with just a plain cream curtain instead of something with a pattern. And I was like, yeah, okay. I'd already ordered it though. So I like these better. I always thought that this curtain added too much color, but with the blue wallpaper, I don't know. It just looked really good. It kind of works. And I absolutely agree that a plain cream curtain would work very well as well. But I don't know, for some reason, I really like these for now. See, this is one of those examples where I had a DIY project planned, but now there's not going to be a DIY project. Okay, so I guess I will just hang these back up and think about what I've done. However, I do have a lot of other places where that fabric would be beautiful. So it's definitely not going to go to waste. But I do think this is another sign that I should step away from the kitchen for a while. Because bad decisions are being made. In hindsight, I also think that the new fabric was very, very white and cool toned, where the old one is cream colored. So just like some of you already said, a solid cream colored curtain would probably work very well. Maybe even a little sheer and flowy, as it's only for show anyway. We don't actually want the curtains to block any light at all. But as much as I have enjoyed cozying up our kitchen, I think moving on to some other projects for a while is a good idea. Kind of a palette cleanser, if you will. So I have thoroughly enjoyed asking you guys for advice on the kitchen. You get so many different points of view and it's so helpful. And you guys were absolutely right about the door and about the trim. Oh, and about the curtains as well. So that will definitely be continued. I am actually making a little bit of a list of like smaller projects that I could maybe tackle during Vlogmas. Because I do think I will be doing Vlogmas again this year. I did that last year and I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. Now, I had totally expected the new wool to arrive this week, but it didn't. It was actually supposed to arrive yesterday, but it didn't. And now the tracking information still says that it's going to be delivered yesterday. So I have no idea. That's a mystery. Hopefully I will have it for next week's video and I can show you what it looks like and what I'm planning to do with it. I also would like to go thrift shopping again next week, so I will definitely take you along for that as well. So I hope that you enjoyed this week's video. Thank you so much for tuning in every week and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye guys.